Yeah, there you go. Remember I told you I'm always going to do this part, and then so you got to do that
I know
part.
I'm always kind of a little bit nervous, but welcome into We Gonna Figure It Out, episode 4.
We gonna figure it out.
We gonna figure it out.
You got music, right? You got to sing it loud. People want to hear you. Sing. Sing the We Gonna Figure It Out thing.
I'm good.
Go after it.
No, I'm good.
Go after it.
Everybody, welcome in. So today we're talking about 50-50 relationships, and
Yep, we would have been talking about it 2 hours ago.
I am sorry that we are late. I was on Meiji duty, and Meiji is what my kids call me. Even Brayden calls me Meiji. I don't think I've heard the term mama in a long time, so I'm Meiji to my kids. And so I was on Meiji duty. I had several things I had to do today. So, hey y'all, welcome in. I see y'all joining us. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm gonna lead off with this story because it was very odd for me. I was taking the boys to get a haircut, and I stopped at Quick Trip to get some gas and get some cash and all of that stuff. And this guy, he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, Vina," and I was like, "Hey," and he was like, "You just got off work?" And I guess because I was dressed in my work clothes, and I just was like, "Yeah, I just got off work." And so he says, "Show looking good," and I was like,
Now, how old was this man?
I don't know this man at all.
I mean, how old did he look?
He looked young. He probably looked maybe, in his late 20s, early 30s. And so, I move around real quick because I'm really kind of uncomfortable. But then, so I get back and I had already had my gas pumping. I was just ready to get in the car and head back. And so he was like, he hightails it out the store, kind of like behind me. And I'm like, here come this dude. And so he says, so you currently happy in the situation that you in?
What? That's
and I was
real
like,
detail.
it was so odd. And so
what's up, Lornell?
Hey, Lornell. So I'm in my, I'm closing my gas cap and doing all that stuff, trying to finish up so that I can get on out of there. And I'm holding my drink in my hand, and so he sees my ring. He was like, okay, I see you married. I was like, I said, happily married. And so he says, well, I'm not about breaking up homes anymore.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Look,
now I was like,
that's how you gonna get a woman. You tell her anymore. He was actually still trying to throw something out there.
Because let me tell you what he did. So he was like, oh, you got that nice ring, that one that you got to put on layaway. I was like, and then he was like, this is all I got. So he shows me his hand, and I'm like, dude, step back. You know what I mean?
Now, here's where I feel guilty about this story that she's telling. Last night,
come on, marriage.
I was on. Last night I was leaving a place, and I stopped at the Quick Trip, and I was so sleepy. I told the guy 25 on 5, right? And so the dude ends up giving me 5 on 5.
Yeah, you told me that, but I think
I ended up. And some said, "Well, don't be lazy, Andrew. Fill up the tank for your wife." And I was tired, and I didn't fill up the tank, so that's what I get. I end up letting you go to the gas station.
See,
and you
left me out there. And that man was trying to break up a happy home.
It wasn't gonna happen.
But that was my thought, because immediately I started kind of pondering what he had said, and I was like, well, you can't break up a happy home.
Yeah.
If you don't, if it's not allowed.
Yeah.
If you don't let it go any further, so.
Yes. So either way it goes, we are back at it, and so today we're gonna talk about the.
Y'all like my shirt? Because Norman sucks. Anyway.
So we're gonna talk about 50-50 relationships. What is a 50-50 relationship? A lot of people define it different ways. What's your definition of a 50-50 relationship?
A 50-50 relationship to me is a support system. So what I mean by that is, say for instance, I'm in school and I go to school right after work, so I don't have time to come home and cook dinner and wash the clothes or get the kids off to bed and things like that. I'm hoping, and I know that this is the case because you do it all the time. You step in and fill in where I can't, and vice versa.
Right.
So that's what a 50-50 relationship is to me.
Okay. So for me, 50-50 is a dangerous kind of term.
Yes, Vina.
Because I do believe in like everything you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes 50-50 relationship can be taken out of context, meaning we're equal in all ways, 100% around the board. And we don't let one another have the leadership that the person should have in areas because we're trying to consistently fight for equality.
I see.
Opposed to allowing like the man to lead his household.
Right.
And you know, even like when it comes to like raising the children and doing different things that, let's just say, even, you know, I don't want to control every aspect of the house.
Right.
There's some things that you take care of that I need to let you lead in and let you take care of, and that's your area.
Right.
And I need to let you do it. But 50-50 doesn't mean that we have to try, because I think sometimes people cloak 50-50 over them really trying to be 100. You know, like them trying to mask and take over the whole entire relationship and do what they want to do in it to control people. So I think 50-50 can be dangerous, can very well be dangerous, because I think for a man, we always have one desire. I mean, like within us, like we have nightmares sometimes about this idea that we have to provide.
Right.
And because we're providers, it doesn't matter whether we're making the most money or anything, we're always worried about providing.
Right.
Or that's always a concern of ours. And so that's a responsibility that the man has regardless of the amount of income that's coming in via, you know, his job or whatnot. So since we're always worried about those different things, it's not a 50-50 approach to things. Now, women can worry about that as well. Mm-hmm. But I can promise you at the end of the day, we always feel like we have the responsibility to provide and protect and serve our families to the death, you know?
Right. And my thing is, I'm excited to let you take on that leadership role. Yeah. I think in the beginning, coming from a single parent home, it was hard for me to just hand over the reins to you to be the head of the house, because that's the order in, you know, is you're the head, you're the male, you're the head of the house. Then it's me, then it's the children. So
I think that offends people though, to hear that. Like, and I know we don't care, but I think now in nowadays society, a lot of people are offended by this idea to say that the male is the head of the household. Mm-hmm. Because we get into like those definitions of like, you know, or people get confused like with submission.
Yes.
And so then there's this tug of war where people don't want to say that another human being is someone that they would ever have to submit to.
But let me tell you how I came to be able to accept that you're the head, you handle everything. And my pastor said it perfectly. He's like, but if you understand that he's the head, then head of the household, then everything falls back on him as far as the decision making. So It's like this. Say, for instance, you have money allotted a certain way. Yeah. And you go out and make this decision to spend this money that really should have been spent over here. But if you're not in tune with the Holy Spirit and what you're supposed to do, it's like, then it falls back on you. And he always told me, you don't ever have to worry about that, because he'll be handled. So,
and I think
that's kind of what gave me the release to, hand it over to you.
I think real men really they thrive and they step up. It sounds scary to say, okay, you're responsible for these children's well-being. They're like, it's scary to some degree. Now, I can say for me personally, I submit all of that fear, all those anxieties over to God. That's what works for me. But at the end of the day, a real man steps up and he thrives in that. Right. But he has to be afforded the opportunity. The thing that steers people away from that opportunity to embrace that and to thrive in that is when someone is consistently fighting with them for equality in the silly things. Like, something as simple as, who's going to wash the dishes, who's going to do this, that, and other. Yeah. Here's the fight that we know a lot of people have all over. And one of the bigger fights that everyone has is like, or I don't say everyone has, the debate of who do you serve first? Like when we cook dinner, do you give your kids the plate? Do you feed the kids first, or do you feed your husband first?
So, in that, when I was a single parent, single mom, all of that, of course, my kid came first, right? And so it took me a minute to grasp hold of serving you first, because you always take care of your kids and everything like that, and kind of how it was explained to me is, if y'all make this thing work and see it through to the end, it's gonna be you and me, right, and those kids are gonna be long gone.
Yeah.
So you have to build up those things now, because if you don't, then you'll be looking at this person after the kids are gone and saying, I don't really know you.
Or like you.
Like, you
would look at someone, I can't stand. I've seen old people look at each other like I can't stand you. But
so I've learned to, serve your plate first.
And it's vice versa, because it isn't just a thing of, if I'm cooking and I'm making plates, I'm going to give you your plate first.
Right.
And that's just showing the children how to show and honor their spouse.
Exactly.
And show their spouse respect, because it's their household. At the end of the day, that's it's just like, I'm just repeating what you're saying. It's going to be me and you at the end of the day.
Right.
And the kids going to go on about their business.
Right.
They're going to have their little boyfriend or girlfriend. They're going to cop an attitude with me one day and tell me I don't know anything.
Right.
Am I speaking out of experience? No.
Right.
But, I think the whole idea, the whole premise of being able to understand that 50-50 comes in with allowing each person to thrive at what they are, who they are, not downgrading anyone, and just showing each other respect.
Yeah.
Just showing each other respect. But if you're single and you're thinking about getting married, make sure that you pocket that information in, you take that in, and you have an open dialogue about this before you get into the relationship.
Right.
And before you get into the serious portion of the relationship. It's a silly question to ask a person while you're still dating, but ask them like, hey, if we got kids, whose plate would you serve first?
Right.
And kind of break it down to, and I think the two of you can have, your own little thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying everybody has to agree with us. If the two of you, before you get married, sit down and say, we're going to serve our kids first.
Right.
And that's what y'all want to do.
But that's y'all agreement.
That's
y'all
y'all
what
thing.
I'm saying?
And y'all gonna show the kids some consistency.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the biggest things as parents, potential parents, that you want to be able to show your children some level of consistency.
Right.
And I think that's one of the harder things for us to do.
So I think, and shout out to single mothers, because it is hard and difficult. But when it can kind of be a detriment, so to speak. And I'm speaking from experience, because, like I said, when I was a single parent, of course, my child was number one priority. You make sure this and that. And so when it's time to step over and say, I'm sharing my life with my spouse, that first year of marriage was pretty difficult to try to adjust.
Yeah.
So it's just, but you have to be able to push through those tough times to get to a better place. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
and this goes for other areas outside of just like those small things, because I think especially when it comes to like money.
Hey, Heather.
Money management is a very big thing, where to be able to coordinate with one another about how to spend the money and what your goals are. If the two of you can't sit down and figure out, okay, are we saving for a house? Do we believe in credit? What are we doing? And here's the
joint account.
Boom, you went right there with me, because I think that's one of the hardest things for a lot of couples to really actually get down with. Mm-hmm. Like, it still freaks me out when I hear couples say, this is my account and that's it, your account and that another. Like, that is the oddest thing, because it's like, that's our money.
Yeah, but I gotta say that it was difficult. I have to be transparent, because when you're used to being an independent person and being on your own, transitioning into sharing things, and what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine, was very difficult at first. But when you realize that you can grow and become so much more when you're one, and that means one in everything, including money, when you realize that you...
I'm sorry.
Those walls and those barriers start to dissipate, mm-hmm. And so it makes living life together so much easier, much easier.
And I think we've hit on this. We've hit on this one pretty good.
Yeah. And
so one of our next shows is going to be about Miss Rochelle.
Shout out to Rochelle.
Ask us to do a show about it was an introverts and extroverts.
Introverts,
because our personality types are so different.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about that next week. But in the meantime, we're gonna keep talking about the NBA. The All-Star Weekend was here.
Did y'all watch
And
it?
I do a sports show, so I don't talk that much about NBA because on my sports show, the Barbershop 918, I'll end up talking about that. And so I don't want to end up repeating my information. But I do got a question for you.
Okay.
Did you have a problem with the level of defense or the lack of defense that we saw in the game last night?
No, I don't think I did because I understand that it's just an exhibition game.
Yeah.
To me, it's just fun seeing everybody showcase their talent, showcasing
Defense
the
is a talent?
but showcasing the in-game dunks and stealing the ball, and that's a defensive play. But what I'm saying is, I like to see them jack the points up.
Yeah, I wanted to see them get to 200.
I did too. I was hoping they did, but they didn't. But to
What was
me,
your
it's
favorite
just
moment?
about.
What was your favorite moment?
I can't say that it was my.
It was your favorite moment.
I don't want to describe it as a favorite moment, but just a wow moment. Of course, is when
Durant and Westbrook?
Durant and Westbrook. Well, because what it was.
You cried a little bit.
I did not
You
cry,
did.
but I was like, oh.
You was like, I still like him. You
No,
got
I
excited.
was saying that's what people say.
Yeah.
That's what I was pointing out was when that happened, because what happened was, and Russell Westbrook dribbles down the court and he sees KD, and so he passes him the ball, and then KD in turn assists him on a fly-in dunk on an alley-oop. So
it's so like, have you ever gotten to like a beef with somebody and then y'all finally get back together, like, and it's that feeling, that good feeling, like, cause y'all been beefing so long, y'all been into it, y'all was into it, and then y'all talking again about something. It could be something stupid, but that feel. You think they had those feelings, or you think it was just the game?
I don't know the way and I felt kind of hurt because KD described it. He was like, it was just a good play. It was a good give and go. Nothing more, nothing less. And I was like, okay.
He's just being defensive. That's
well,
all.
and I get it, but it's like, Westbrook didn't describe it that way. He was just like, it was a great play. He's a great player. And so I gave him the ball. He assisted
Both
it back
teams
to me.
played hard.
There you go. And so he could have, what I think is he could have just left off that nothing more, nothing less. That was just like a little shade.
Into it
Yeah.
As Thunder fans, we just see more into it.
I
Like, he
think
can't
you're right.
say nothing. He can't do nothing right by us. He never will do nothing right by us. He can start brushing it. He can do a whole lot of stuff.
Did you say brushing his hair?
I did. I stopped myself, and you
You
highlighted me stopping this stuff. I'm trying to be right with Jesus this year. You pointing things out, but yeah, I think overall the dunk contest was pretty good. I said good. I'm sorry. Was pretty mediocre. I did not mean to say good.
Yeah, it was not.
It wasn't, but it's not worth like trash. And I think next year might be better.
I guess compared to last year.
Last year was great.
Yeah.
So, I like the 3-point contest. It excited me a little bit.
It did,
so
and I was excited that that an underdog won it. So that was
Yeah.
cool for me
Yeah.
because the Stars always win everything. I'm always rooting. I
Well,
told you
and
before,
with
I
the
always root
3-point
for the underdog.
contest, the Stars don't. I mean, like Craig Hodges, won, and Capono. It's been people who weren't stars.
Yeah.
Who didn't win. So
You're absolutely right, Miss Cheryl, and it's people like me that say darned if they do, darned if they don't, and I'm trying not to be that way.
Yeah.
Hey, Rochelle, we shouted you out in the show.
Yes, we're gonna do your show topic next week.
Next week.
Yep. So there's so much going on. I don't know why our son is in there yelling, but we'll figure that out here in a minute. No clue. I'm so curious now what he's doing. That threw this whole.
It didn't continue, so
Yeah.
he's good, I think.
All right. So that's what happens when you raise kids. You can't do anything without them distracting you at some
that's
point.
true.
All right. So we good for today? Is that a show? Do you feel like this went by way too quick?
It did. It went by way fast. So
We ain't got nothing else to talk about. We talked about the 50-50 relationships and the roles and how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, when it comes just wrapping up the 50-50 relationship part, I think it's just an awkward thing to say in today's society, man.
yeah.
I don't think a lot of people want to talk about it.
I mean, but when you get past it, life is so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? When you get past just the 50-50, this or that, when you
ever
come
find
together and work together, it just works.
Do you find yourself feeling like you have to fight within our marriage? Do you ever feel like you find yourself having to fight for equality in different areas? Because, you know.
I don't. Well, maybe with parenting.
Yeah.
I think that's the struggle for me, maybe a little bit.
And I think for me, that's a part of one of my because I don't think about it. I just look at it from a, you know, sometimes I don't look at it from a teaching standpoint or anything. I just look at it as, oh, this is what I know needs to be done, and that's what's going to be done.
Yeah.
And I don't bother to say, now let me let you in on this logic or this thought. Let me talk to you about.
At least you can admit that.
Yeah. Yes, because I'm a great husband. So, so yeah, that's. Let me add, and here's one last question before we go. What is one of the things that you could? What is it that I could do that could make you feel more loved this week? And I'm gonna ask you this question now because if I ask you this question now, then next week we can follow up with this question, you know, with the answer and see if I tried my best to do something. So. Think about what is it that I could do this week that will make you feel more loved.
So I think, you know, I like surprises. I love surprises, and I'm not talking about monetarily. It doesn't have to be anything that you spend money on, but it's just going out of your way to think about something that I like.
Right.
And saying, hey, I did this for you or whatever.
Right.
But surprise me. I love surprises.
So you want a surprise this week, right? Is what you're
now,
saying.
I mean, now it sounds kind of weird.
It sounds weird to say surprise me, but because it wouldn't be a surprise because you're expecting a surprise all week.
Well,
but I get what you're saying.
Because I don't know what you would choose.
All right.
So
here, you got a question for me, right?
I have a question for you?
Yeah, you're supposed to have. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
But since you forgot, the question that you would have for me is, how can you make me feel
more
affirmed? Or how could
remember.
you support me this week or make me feel more affirmed as a man this week?
So what can I do?
Are you going to actually ask me the question so I can...
Just ask it. I don't understand why I have to repeat it. Okay.
No, so I think...
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
What can I do for you this week that will affirm you?
I don't know if that's the right way to ask that question. I don't know if that's... But anyway.
Look at that. Y'all see that?
No, I just know as we said it seems like a weird question. But I would say this. I would say for
Should I say words of affirmation?
Yeah, so I think you would definitely, at some point this week, I want you to...
Rochelle, you playing games.
I would say...
She said go running with you. Running? Really?
Nobody wants to run with me. So... I don't even want to run with me most of the time. Like 6 miles into it, I'm like, what am I doing here? But, okay, so for me, I would say definitely share a positive opinion of me instead of giving me your opinion once this week. Like, hold an opinion. Like, even when you probably should give me one, just hold one. And just give me a positive feedback on who I am.
Okay.
Like instead of your opinion of the situation.
That's a little challenging.
All right.
But I can do it.
You can do that one. That's a good one for you.
It is, but it's difficult because I always have an opinion.
So this week, I will give you a surprise. This week, you will, instead of giving me just the whole opinion on something, you're just going to give me like a nice, hey, you got white teeth or something. I don't know.
You do have really white teeth.
You'll give me something like that, okay?
And a nice nose.
Thank you. That does not count for this week.
Got it.
Once we hit finish, that does not count.
I got you.
All right, we're done for this week. We'll catch you next week. And like we say, if you ever have a
topic of discussion.
If you ever have a topic that you want us to discuss, we will definitely discuss it with you, for you. We would love to definitely hear some feedback from you, and we're gonna figure this out together, like marriage, life, living life, just in general.
Okay, and if y'all have, advice, we're willing to take advice.
Yeah.
So chime in, please.
Definitely, because we're gonna figure it out.